thank you, GO Chair Stewart, for your comments and for your work, and all colleagues, and thanks to staff. I share your concerns on the use of reserves to what I would say is kind of artificially lower the tax rate this year. I'm going to speak from the perspective of as chair of the Education Committee, in that the school system, whose job is to send us their budget to the county executive, and then he sends his budget, and then we deal with it, and they decide how to spend the money, has done so at a time of great need. And this budget, this tax rate proposed, and it's obviously directly connected to MCPS because all of the tax-supported funds will go to MCPS of the increased tax rate. And Mr. Howard, just so we're clear, because my buddy here, Councilmember Katz, framed it in the more traditional way, could you talk about what the percent increase is of what was just proposed, of what we're talking about? Is it the 4.7?
Yeah, 4.7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
all right.
4.7.
We said the 100 thing. You did it together. Yeah. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. He did both. I didn't hear it. Okay. Thank you. So it's 4.7. And as we just discussed, MCPS tranches are equivalent to a 1% increase. We got a letter yesterday from the superintendent and the board that said a couple of really important things. That if we are funding them at 7 increments, which this increase proposes to do, they would still have a gap of nearly $90 million, $89 million, to cover the $8 million that was cut out of the request from the executive, the $22.3 million that we took out in the Education and Culture Committee, and the blueprint costs and inflationary costs that they have. And they say that in order to do this, they're going to have to move $15 million from the operating budget to the ESSER grant, which, as the conversation was just mentioned, is going to run out. That money runs out and is already allocated. That they will have to reduce between 6 and 8 million the base budget. They would also have to do additional lapse and turnover, and that to achieve the rest of the savings, they're going to either need to increase class size between 0.5 and 2 students across grade level, or renegotiate agreed upon compensation packages, which include not just the salaries, but things that teachers need, like when they do tutoring, or what the rates are they're paid to help our students after school and the like. They say we could avoid most of this, but still have to do a lot of it if we added a half tranche, which would be basically 11 million to what is currently designated by priority. And in this case would be a 5.2% tax increase. Now, it took us a while to get here. We all wanted to cut the fat and say, what's the lowest you could go? We're here. And I don't think, as a parent of MCPS kids, I don't want class size going up 0.5 to 2 students per classroom in classes that are already stressed, for teachers who are already stressed. I don't want them not getting an increase for tutoring after school. I think it'd be well worth the additional 0.5 on the tax rate. I won't make a motion because I don't think there's a second. But I will say it's regrettable that we are not only doing in our budget what the GO chair said, moving things to the reserves and kicking the can down the road. It's also going to be a problem next year because the ESSER funds will run out. And whatever emergency measures the school system takes to use that fund to backfill some of this, which will still result in deep cuts, are going to be back before us next year. And that's not where we should be. It's not good for our students. It's not good for our budget. And for those reasons, I will be voting against the tax rate as well. Thank you.